Okay, so consistently, this role right here, has been making me feel very insecure.
Yeah.
So I
we
think
can
I'm gonna
start like standing up in our podcast.
No, I don't want to show how short I am.
Well then,
shout out to the new intro, actually.
yeah.
Oh God. So what was that from? Like Facts of Life or some shit?
Full House.
Oh, Full House.
Full House.
Family Matters.
I'm sorry, Family
Did
Matters.
we get that copy or did we pay the copyright fees on that?
No, that's why we might have to.
Oh, kill it.
It's a rare condition this day and age to read any good news on the newspaper page. And love and tradition of the grand design, some people say, is even harder to find.
Here we are, another episode, All Things Real Estate.
All Things Real Estate. Hey. So I'm going to give a shout out to my buddy Brett Reisenhuber with Achievement Fitness. He, because it is about real estate, it is, but it's also about us hiding our roles and stuff, right? Aaron, is that what we were just talking about?
Yes, it's all about hiding your fat.
So I just signed up for his 6-week challenge.
Okay.
And I challenge you guys to be part of it.
Okay.
I respectfully decline because I have a great person, and shout out Brian Nunez at FNS for always being.
All right.
He's always the first one to comment. How about?
So let's do Brett versus Brian, and let's see who can make us
Brett
lose.
versus Brian.
Oh wait, hold on. Now then I'm gonna have to shout out my guy Marlon.
Okay.
At Marfit, the cakery.
Oh, the
cakery.
Yeah. He bakes those cakes, and I mean, if we're gonna do a 6-week challenge with 3 of us and 3 different trainers,
Not Brad Pitt.
That might not be a bad thing.
Hey,
fat versus fat.
Well,
Respectfully.
wait, listen, we can also get those to start sponsoring these because these are starting to get a little costly for doing our podcast out there,
Yep.
With a shout out to Jacob.
We're done with the sponsorship segment of our podcast, so let's roll into All Things Real Estate. I'm going to start it off with the market minute. We've been talking about the shift coming, right?
Yeah.
And I definitely, and we can talk more about this in a minute, but I definitely feel that we are shifting.
Shift happens.
I say shifted.
I do believe price, 6 months from now when we go back and look, I think prices probably peaked in April.
I would agree with that.
However, still a great market. Right now, Santa Clara County, we have 1,080 single-family homes for sale.
Yep.
And about 957 pending. So still only running about a month's worth of inventory. Now, this is kind of interesting in what we call Class 2 properties, which is townhome and condos.
Right.
456 active, but 561 pending.
Right.
And I think that's going to continue to trend that way, where we have more single-family homes for sale than pending, but less condo townhomes because they're what's affordable right now.
Exactly.
Right?
What you could afford, literally, like all in physically, what the bank approved you, just three weeks to a month ago is so drastically different.
Yeah.
Right.
The market's up, let's say 20%. Interest rates are up 20%. You physically can't afford.
Yeah, and
26 maybe.
And here's the other interesting statistic to back up the fact that I think we're shifting. Out of the 1,000 or 1,080 homes that we have for sale, 90 of them have had a price reduction in the last 10 days. That's about 8% of total inventory has had a price reduction in the last 7 days. So again, just kind of reinforces the fact that it's time to have those serious conversations with potential sellers. Right. That hey, just because the house sold next door for 137, you may only get 1.3.
Right.
And I'm actually having that conversation right now with a couple we're going to list in about 2 weeks. We have an agent in our office, Jim Myrick, is in contract, sold the house 4 doors down, same floor plan, same everything. He got 3 offers, 2 at 1.3 and 1 at 1.37. So what I explained to my sellers, look, that 137 offer is gone. Right. You can, what you will be expecting out of this transaction is not going to be what that last house sold for, because rates are going up daily and buyers are getting cold feet.
Yeah, I think what it comes down to is that expectation dialogue, right? I mean, when we look at those houses too, be realistic with it. I mean, a year ago, you were 20% less than where you're at today, right? Or you were 20%. Well, no, you were 20% less. So even though you got that property that's 1.7 now, well, it would have been maybe 1.3 right now. So just be realistic with it and be happy with what you get.
And not only that, I heard a great saying this past week. It's not about timing the market. it's the time you're in the market, right? So again, which goes back to what we always say, as long as you're buying 5-7 years, you're always going to be fine.
It's the time in and time out, right?
Yeah,
Because that's when you're making your money.
And don't over leverage yourself, right? If you buying a house changes your whole life, don't buy the house at that price.
Well, we always say to first-time home buyers, listen, we want to make sure that we're going to sell you a property that's going to make our job easier and going to accomplish everything you need to, that it's going to grow with what you need to do in your life, and that when the time comes to sell it, that you're going to at least get that appreciation that we see, right? And that's going to be a 5 to 7 year time window easily, right? In addition to that, don't buy a 1-bedroom condo. Get a 2-bedroom condo. But, also ensure that you're buying the property that you're going to be able to afford the payments on, right? And that it's not going to confine you too much. Now, that might be more challenging than not in today's world, but that's really where the focus is, and it's all life type of scenarios. Every time I bought a house, it was a life event. Right.
And I wasn't here last week when Michael Houghton was talking about interest rates, but and correct me if I'm wrong, but my guess is they're not going to go down over the next 12 to 18 months, but they might over the next 2 to 3 years.
Well, Michael actually said 7% within the next 18 months. 7% in 18 months, because the Fed's got to catch up.
Yeah.
And he also said it should have been done a year ago. I mean, we're playing catch up, but that's why we're seeing so many of our clients do ARMs, right?
At the end of the day, we know where the market's at today. That's the only thing we know. Right. And as long as Silicon Valley, you're going to be in that house 5 to 7 years, you're going to be golden. Fine. You're golden.
And Jeet, when they talk about, well, let's wait. Well, wait for what? Wait for higher interest rates?
Yeah, I mean,
wait for less inventory.
I've said this to a lot of our new agents. I don't know if I've said it on the podcast or not. I had a client who came to us, one of my very first clients, 1994, looking in Birdland, Santa Clara, where the homes were $250,000 at that time, and he kept waiting and waiting and waiting. Finally, by 97, I stayed with that client for that long. I think it was hundreds of homes I showed him. By 97, he wound up paying $450,000 for the same type of house. We were looking at Birdland, right? Same thing. Now today, fast forward, we have his sister that we're looking for. No offense to anybody if they're listening to this.
Birdland is my Birdland is my turf.
Same thing where we started looking at homes probably 4 months ago, where there's literally probably been 100 homes that we've seen, no offer yet, that we've put out there. But those homes we were looking at were $1 million to $1.2 million, and now those homes are 1.3 to 1.5, even with the shift.
Mark, I am so glad you brought this up, because you're looking at the number one agent in Sunnyvale for 2019 and 2018. And Birdland,
what about 22? What about 21?
Unfortunately, I did diminish a little bit and spread out from Sunnyvale.
All right.
But Birdland, when I was over there predominantly with shout out Dave Clark team, no longer with them, with a fabulous team, we would list a house in Birdland for 1,488 usually, maybe 1,688. It would sell for around 1,800. I saw yesterday that an identical house over there sold for $3 million, and that's just from 2019.
It's nuts.
No,
$3 million.
And speaking of,
and that was probably an Eichler. It was like the cheapest construction that there is.
I know.
But right by Kaiser over there off Lawrence.
And speaking of expensive houses, for the first time ever, the house where Facebook started out of is for sale. $5.3 million. Maybe Jacob, I'll get you a picture of it. You can throw it on the screen there. Kind of interesting. So it was built 25 years ago. Back in 2004 was the first time the owner had moved out and opened it up for renters, for tenants. And the very first tenants that showed up were Mark Zuckerberg, Sean Parker, and Dustin Makowitz.
Interesting. Yeah.
And what the owner said, she goes, she remembers when the three of them came. Sean and Dustin were running around the house checking it out. She said Mark went up, stood on the sidewalk, never went in the house, and just looked at her and said,
"It's a house.
We'll rent it."
Yeah.
And so now, first time on the market ever, $5.3 million in Los Altos if you want to buy a piece of Silicon Valley history. And I'm sure it will sell over that.
Sure.
Pretty cool.
Of course. Well, they just had Betty White's house down in Carmel. I'm going to probably screw this up. I believe it was, I'm going to be way off here. It was either 300,000 over list or 3 million over list.
Right.
And I wouldn't be surprised if I'm correct with the $3 million over list. There is that historical and centric value that people are putting on these things too, right?
For sure.
But also where the market's at.
I have a topic that's very dear to my heart that keeps getting brought up, if I may.
Sure. Go ahead.
People struggle here very heavily with down payment, right? Most people have the income, the salary, whatever it may be. But I keep hearing the same thing. And what I keep hearing is so many of my friends are carrying credit card debt.
Okay.
And they're not putting their money into E-Trade, Robinhood, or they're not putting it anywhere, right? Having credit card debt, people aren't realizing that they're paying 27 to 35% on their money.
Right.
So guess what? If you think that you putting money into Tesla or whatever, Bitcoin, or if you're going to carry credit card debt and not pay that off but put money in Robinhood and do that, you're foolish because you're paying so much money. You're never going to outperform Visa, MasterCard, American Express. So if you take one thing away from today, please, please, please pay off your credit card debt. Get rid of that before you start trying to save money and make money in the market.
That's why I love American Express. Pay it off every single month.
Pay it off every month. You're never going to beat them. Take advantage of the rewards.
There you go. The More You Know by Aaron Derbacher.
I can't even call it life advice because who wants life advice from me?
Yeah, well, we know what the stock market and crypto market's doing today. Man.
Great time to buy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just you got to remember, you didn't lose anything if you never sold it, right? And then the other thing that I've been meaning to talk about, especially with the two of you being here today, is what really separates us as a team. And a lot of people have asked why I've joined VKG last year. And I mean, there's a million reasons, but I think the biggest reason that affects buyers, sellers, and our clients overall is we're a one-stop shop, right?
Yes.
What I love is that we have property management. We have someone on our team who's been doing commercial real estate and buys his own properties and buildings. We have someone like Dave, 17 years?
Almost 19.
19 years in the business. They have been through every single scenario in their life. And then there's Jeet, Ben, and I, who are young gunslingers, and we cover all the avenues.
It's the diversity of what our team brings to the table, right? To your point, all things real estate, yes, that's an incredible thing. I mean, when I first got in, they say specialize in a neighborhood. Now I want to specialize in real estate, and we have dedicated our lives and have a passion to what real estate's all about. Everything, as you said, from management all the way up through wealth building and those type of things, everything in between. But what I love about our team is the collaboration we have, the diversity we have in who we are with our personalities, who we are with our experience, everything from new agents coming in to the senior agents with that experience. And I personally don't believe that there's minimal teams that can compete with what we bring to the table. Our clients are going to pay us the same percentage if they hire that one agent who does 10 deals a year, or they hire our team that does over 100 deals a year.
And you get that one person.
Yeah,
right?
you get that one
You're
person.
not trying to find your agent.
I've always said, just in a team in general, the scenarios, God forbid something happens to me, I'm sick or I'm on vacation or something, I immediately have individuals that can step in that I've got the confidence, that my clients can have the confidence in to handle that transaction the same as I would.
Well, not only that, but I think what a lot of people don't see is our support staff behind the scenes.
100%.
Right? I mean, we don't do things by chance or haphazardly. We have a very specific process and procedure for everything that we do that's repeatable and has proven a high level of success.
So shout out to Taylor, Jessica, Tamiko,
CJ,
Inez, CJ, Jacob.
Jacob.
And are we forgetting anybody? I know we'll hear about it when
Tamiko.
we got to. Chelsea. I got Tamiko in there. There is a whole team behind us to make us look good.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think the biggest thing that stuck with me before I even joined your team or even this office in general was your mission statement is very, very simple. I mean, a lot of these statements are very corny, right? But yours is to create generational wealth through real estate.
Right. Ultimately.
How awesome is that?
Yeah.
But that's what we do.
That's it.
We just care so much. I just think it's great. People, we fight for every dollar. Every dollar is important. We're going to treat your money just like our own.
100%.
Agreed.
Go ahead, Jeet.
I love what Mark said. A lot of agents focus on certain neighborhoods, but I love the fact that we want to become experts in real estate, no matter where it is.
Right.
Especially since now everything is so data driven.
Right.
I feel that our ability to analyze data, in a very short amount of time can make us, pretty much an expert in just about any area.
Well, it's funny you say that, because one of the things I've been diving into as we're looking at revitalizing our wealth building seminars and everything is those other activities that we can do in different areas, and the amount of research we can do, not just on the ground level, but just through the data services that are out there. When we're looking at additional student housing, when we're looking at the traveling nurse type of scenario in some of these areas like Alabama and Georgia, it's amazing the data that's out there and the ability that we have to dive into that data, analyze it, and bring it to our clients.
So when you're thinking about using a robot to buy or sell a home, once robots can sell to each other, we talked about it this morning. We're talking about how some of these new companies work. Guys, once the market changes a little bit, everything goes, like those silly things go away.
Yeah. So to Aaron's point, today we were talking about there's a company, a real estate company where
something like saxophone, baritone.
Yeah, we won't mention their name, but their whole shtick is we're not going to put the property on the MLS. We're not going to pay a buyer's agent's commission. We're going to sell it off market.
Test the market.
Who can waste that kind of time in a rapidly evolving market that we're in? And so, one of the things just, like Zillow stopped buying houses, right, 6 months ago. When the market starts to stabilize, flatten out, and we have longer sales cycles, most of those guys, because they're working on such tight margins, they'll be gone.
Well, that's what's going to, in our market's going to really impact us too. I mean, we've got 13,000 licensed agents in Santa Clara County. Mm-hmm. I welcome an environment where we now have to truly, we've always earned our money. Our team, every person on this team has earned our money. But there are agents that honestly have been paid a lot more than they're worth. Mm-hmm. And agents who've only been in this business for the last 7 or 8 years, David, honestly, it's been a pretty easy ride for them.
100%.
You get a shifting market like this is where the rubber meets the road. Yep. This is when it truly does matter who you work with. 100%.
Who you work with matters. But having a strategy, right? Coming up with a plan of attack is just so important.
Well, and understanding where the market's headed. And I think that's one of the things we do really well on a weekly basis in this podcast is we're informing everybody for free, whether you work with us or not, or work with some other agent. Here's 50 plus years of collective experience, in the trenches. And this is where we see the market heading, not just, in housing, but in interest rates, economy, all things.
So when the market shifts, I believe that you as the consumer, whoever's watching this, you are now allowed a little bit more time to maybe do a proper interview process from the buyer side. Maybe interview, some more people for listings. We encourage that.
100%.
Just like you want to make sure it's a good fit, we want to make sure it's a good fit too.
Listen, I even did a listing presentation to my own mom. I'll tell you, I always encourage everybody to listen. Go out there and interview three agents, right? Because I want to make sure I'm getting your business because I'm the best person, not just because I'm your buddy, not just because I'm your kid or your friend, but because I'm the best person. Our team's the best resource you can have.
Spoiler alert, his mom listed with me.
So
is that what you call it?
So what I think would be cool is if most people aren't informed of the correct question to ask. Mm-hmm. So what is a good question? We'll all take a turn. What's a good question as a seller to ask if you're interviewing 3 agents? Give us a good question.
How are you going to net me the highest price possible?
Awesome.
How many homes have you sold in the last 12 months?
What's a clear strategy to get my home sold?
Nice.
And yours, Aaron?
I would go with what should my expectations be? What is important to you, right?
And actually, Ben, who's not here today, shout out to Ben, who's in Arizona.
He's in Arizona. His sister's graduating
law school.
Yep, absolutely.
He has put together a pretty comprehensive FAQ of the questions that we get asked most frequently. And so if anybody, while they're out there interviewing agents, listening to this podcast, wants a copy of that, there are some incredible questions. Obviously, we already have our answers in there. Happy to share them with you. Just reach out to one of us.
What are the 2 questions you don't want to ask?
So I think the most foolish thing that you can ask is, what is your commission? Not is it foolish, but if you're looking for a discount from that question, it's silly.
It's always amazing me. You're not going to go to this is the number one asset that most people have.
We can make up the 1% extra.
100%.
You want 4%? We can do it.
If I got an issue and I got to go see an attorney or a doctor, I'm not going to go with the cheapest one on the table, right? I mean, what you get for you pay for what you get for. You get what you pay for.
Yeah.
Is that it? You get what you pay for.
If you want to work with someone that's a discount agent, we're probably not interested in working with you anyways.
Yeah. 100%. Which goes back to what do they say? Cheap agents aren't that good,
and good agents aren't that cheap.
Something like that.
Absolutely.
But anyway.
All right. So I think we're tapping out on this. We have an incredible event. I'm going to say it on Friday because by the time this goes, we probably have already gone past Friday. Yeah. But we're kind of coming back together for our client appreciation casino night, Friday night. Gonna have a
La
great
Rinconada
time.
Country Club in Los
Absolutely.
Gatos. We got blackjack tables, crap table, roulette table,
Incredible raffle prizes and all that
Yeah.
great
So
stuff.
if you are not yet a client of one of ours, hopefully you will be this upcoming year, and we
Absolutely.
can have you at the next event.
Yep.
All right, guys. Good
What's
stuff.
your real estate tip of the day?
real estate tip of the day? I already gave like 35 tips on this podcast.
What's your real estate tip
Real
of the day?
estate tip of the day, make sure you're working with the right agent.
And on
Because
that,
who you work with matters.
we are out.
Who you work with matters.
Who you
with
work with
matters.
matters.
There
If
you
you
go.
want a sweatshirt, let me know.
And don't buy crypto right now, or maybe go buy crypto. I don't know, man.
Where are we going to be next week? Crypto's at 29,000.
Yeah, 29,000. It was
All
at
right.
31 this
when
morning.
this podcast comes out, let's see where we're at.
I'm going to say 35 grand
30
for Bitcoin.
Be fearful when people are greedy, and be greedy when people are fearful.
There you go. There's the
Warren
tip of the day,
Buffett.
right?
All right, we'll
All right,
see you.
guys. Peace out.